Hey guys, welcome back to Silent Hill 3. So we are gonna go down to the first floor, deep into the depths of the hospital, and we are gonna go hunt down Leonard. It's been a few days since I last played this. I was playing RoboCop yesterday. That is a very good game. Very good game. I highly recommend it. Technically, I'm supposed to be at movie night right now, but they're playing a movie called Vile, which is supposed to be really bad. It's mainly for the laughs, so I'm not really interested. I'll pass. Before that, we did see Strays, though. That was quite a movie. That's the movie about the stray dogs getting together to buy the guy's you-know-what off. Very nasty, very twisted, very weird movie. It wasn't as funny as I expected it to be, but at the same time it was crazier than I ever imagined. And the weird thing is, we are in the wrong place. We went all the way down to the basement. That is not the first floor header. The weird thing is, that movie was produced. I didn't notice. It was produced by the people who made the Across the Spider-Verse movies, and the guy who directed the Incredible Hulk. God damn! How do you go from Marvel and Spider-Man to directing that movie? Someone asked what drugs they were on when they were making that movie. I'm guessing all the drugs their money they made from Marvel could buy. That's what they were on. They just bought themselves tons of cocaine and weed and God knows what else, and all got together in one house and say, you know what? Let's make this movie about some really weird, really twisted talking dogs. That's exactly what they did. They were just huffing who knows what based off the stuff that they bought from all their accumulated Marvel fortunes. I was actually thinking of saving this for tomorrow, but I'm also gonna do another horror game tomorrow, Oxide Room 104. So I didn't want to do 1.5 or 2 hours of Silent Hill and then jump straight into another horror game, because that would be a bit too much. I like to differentiate them. I don't want to be playing non-stop horror all night, so I figure I might as well do this one now, and then we can do Oxide Room 104 later on. There's gonna be a lot of enemies that are gonna bum rush us as soon as we step into that hallway. I'm trying to see what the best approach would be. We have the beef jerky, but I don't think we're gonna get the chance to use them. They're gonna ambush us as soon as we step into that hallway. How much shotgun ammo do we have? Let's see. We only have 23, and we gotta save some for the amusement park and the final boss. So, ooh, what can we do? I guess we're gonna have to equip them all. Go down there, put some beef jerky, and hope that we can... God damn, they're already here. Hope that we don't get shot by a nurse. Step away from the door, header. Let him come to you. I can't see him. Is he here? Oh, there he is. God damn. He tripped me. Son of a bitch. God damn, there's too many of them. Yeah, I don't know what happened there for a moment. I completely dropped out. I hadn't seen that glitch in a while. Looks like we're still okay on health though, so I'm gonna have to edit that out. I guess all the carnage was too much for the OBS to handle. Oh damn, he's still alive. God damn. Here comes that nurse with her revolver. This is not going well at all. You know what, we might as well, wait a second, how much ammo do we have for the shotgun? Let's see. I mean the machine gun. You know what, let's just blast it. There's too many of these guys. That nurse pistol with me? Come on. This is insane. This is freaking insane. Is it dead? It's still not dead. Finally. God damn. That was wild. That was freaking wild. Happy first birthday. Guy still doesn't know what our real birthday is. I'm guessing by happy first birthday he means this Heather starting to realize exactly who and what she is, so it's almost like she's being reborn. There's gonna be nurses here too, so that's gonna suck. Yeah, we're gonna have to go out and edit that part out with them. Damn, we just ate a health drink just a minute ago, and we're already in danger. Is she gonna strike? Or not? God damn. That was a freaking mess. Ah, I missed what she said. Damn it, I missed what she said. I think it was something about the birthday presents from that weird guy. There's something on the ground. Is this a birthday card? Happy 38th birthday. 14 plus 7 plus 17 is 38. I guess so. Yep, so it's basically Alessa's age plus Cheryl's age plus Heather's age. But it's not my birthday. Stop denying it, Heather. It is. Just accept it. Yep, so basically Heather is actually a grand total of 38 years old. She's my age. World's oldest teenager right here. Yesterday was a disappointing day. I think they're dead. I can't better check for sure. Pretty sure there's a person under these rusty red sheets. I'm pretty sure there is too, Heather. What I was saying, yesterday was a disappointing day. They had that large horse race, the Breeders' Cup. I can never get that race right, no matter what I do. 4 years in a row, 4 straight defeats with nothing to show for it. 0 profit made on those bets. Luckily, I got it back a couple hours later from another source, but another wager I'd made, but still, it still sucks. Like, no matter what angle I try, I can't figure out that race, you know? I try to go with the favorites, doesn't work. Try to go with the long shots, doesn't work. I try a combination of favorites and long shots, doesn't work. I try going with the foreign horses, you know, to see if they have something to offer, doesn't work. 4 straight tries in a row, in 4 straight years, and 4 straight years I've made $0 from that race. It's unbelievable. So this was obviously the last time I'm wagering that thing, because I can't figure it out, and neither can anyone else, because the horse that came in second was a horse that pretty much every handicapper dismissed on every single site. They all said he sucked. They said he was good now, but he sucked. He was good then, but he sucked now. Wasn't going to do anything. The damn horse charges up to second place and beats the guy who everybody thought would be the second favorite with minimal effort. So this is, yeah. Handicappers who are professionals can't figure out that race. Bettors can't figure out that race. That thing is best avoided at all costs. The Breeders' Cup Classic is just not a good way to make any type of money. You end up losing your money no matter what you do. There's a stretcher here. Not just your usual stretcher. This is more like an altar of some sort. Lit candles, a knife, and is that blood I smell? Did they worship that picture or something in the picture? So I never noticed this before, or maybe I did and I forgot, but if you look closely at the picture, it just looks like a dark figure with a red stain of blood. But if you look closer, it pretty much kind of resembles the god that Heather faces at the end. Like shadow version of it. Only a little bit more developed because the god doesn't have legs, this one does. I never noticed that before. I thought it was just some random figure, but I guess it's like a little silhouette of what you're gonna face at the end. I saw that drawn on the dividing screens at the hospital, but this is different. Seems like it was drawn a long time ago. Somehow... Yeah, we're not gonna save just yet. We're gonna read the book first. This looks like it might have been Leonard's room. I know his room was upstairs, but it looks like the type of stuff he'd have in his room. Here's a bit of background on the cult. The title is Lost Memories. So this is actually the book we find in Silent Hill 2 as one of the bonus items after we start New Game Plus. It lets you get the rebirth ending for James and Mary. One characteristic mentioned only in rare documents and dying out in the modern age is that of the ritual sacrifice. Offering prayers, pierce a man's chest with a copper stake, drench the altar in the blood which spouts red from the heart to praise and to show loyalty unto God. And another sacrificial rite mentioned in the same book, the victim is burned alive. This was a more dignified ceremony in which prisoners and sinners were not allowed to participate, only the clergy could be sacrificed. What a deal, huh? You're a priest of a cult and you're expected to burn yourself as a sacrifice. That does give you insight into what Dahlia was doing with Alessa though. Alessa was basically, at least in her mind, I don't think she actually was, but in her mind she pretty much was like a priestess of the order. So she figured that would be a fitting sacrifice to summon the god. I guess it helped that she had the supernatural powers too. So it wasn't just any sacrifice, you know, I think in her mind she did think of Alessa as an actual priestess. And you can see here later on they've actually made paintings of her as a saint. I'm sure Claudia pushed that through, but I think the rest of the members probably supported it as well. Similar to burning at the stake, no comparable rite can be found in religious practice nearby. It may have some connection with the main deity being a sun god. Even though this religion extols redemption, it brings to mind a dark and cultish history. So that's what I was saying about much earlier during one of the earlier videos, where the native religion itself actually seems pretty peaceful and in tune with nature, but when the immigrants came and blended it with their own beliefs from Christianity and other stuff, they kind of warped it and corrupted it into this twisted cult that's now taking over the town. But the actual native religion itself was probably very peaceful. It's just become warped by human interference. Which makes me wonder what the town was before those immigrants came. Like, I wonder what it'd be like to see it before Europeans took it over and it was just the native peoples. If they could do a game like that, set way back in like the 16 or 1700s. Or even after the first wave of immigrants disappeared in like the 1700s. And it was just the town was standing empty. I wonder if they could do a game like that. So we gotta offer a sacrifice, so we gotta use the blood. Now we got ourselves a nifty little underground passageway that wasn't there before. This looks so creepy in the intro when I first saw it. Like you were descending down into hell. That's why I said that even though Silent Hill 2 is the more acclaimed of the two games, you know, because of the story and the soundtrack and James's whole deal, I think this one is actually a lot scarier the first time you play it because of stuff like this. You don't see stuff like this in Silent Hill 2. That version of the other world and the background there is more depressing and sad than anything. You know, it's decayed. to show the decay that overtook Mary and how James's relationship with her has decayed, how he has decayed. So you have a lot of diseased look throughout those surroundings, but it's not really scary. You know, like I was never really scared playing that game, even when I played it my first time after I had played Silent Hill 1. I was never really scared by it the way I was with Silent Hill 1, where sometimes I just dreaded going into certain areas as a kid. I was never scared by it too. You know, it was just depressing and sad to see the places James was going to, but it was never scary. This was scary the first time I played it. Maybe it was because I was so young, but it definitely did scare me quite a bit. So we probably shouldn't do this, but whatever. We're gonna do it. We still have some bullets left. Leonard is actually very vulnerable to the machine gun, so we're gonna use a machine gun and probably the shotgun. It is not advisable to tackle Leonard with melee weapons. You do not want to do that. Not at all. That is a surefire way to get your ass kicked. He will kill you. Because his limbs actually have some pretty long reach. So it is not advised to hit him with melee weapons. Use the guns. Even if it means you have to go combing the rest of the town for some more ammo. I do not advise fighting him with the pipe or the sword. Or even the beam saber when you get it. I wish you could just push him into that thing right there and just grill him into pieces, but you can't. You have to actually fight him. And he is one of the more annoying enemies in the game. Certainly one of the more annoying bosses. Oh, there he is. We can see him right there. The clarity of an HD display, right? On PC, we can actually see him right there through the wall. I never noticed that before. Because I never played this on PC before. I always played the PS2 version. So I did not see him there.
But first, one must be chosen.
So here's the twist. Leonard is not a decent fellow. He's actually a piece of shit. Another one of the cultist lunatics that Vincent hates.
Don't you think so?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and think whatever you want.
What do you mean by that?
I wonder what would have happened if she had just agreed or pretended to agree. Like, would he just let her go? I guess.
Any part of that kind of paradise?
You're an unbeliever. You deceived me.
I didn't deceive you. We were both just wrong about each other. I thought you were a normal person.
This is a lost opportunity too. If he had realized he was talking actually to Alessa, there could have been some emotional underpinning there.
I told you I wasn't trying to trick anyone. What is this seal thing anyway?
Don't play innocent. You can't fool me anymore. The seal is...
So he thinks she's a regular unbeliever, a normal person, but she's actually the daughter of one of their own leaders. It would have been interesting if he had recognized her. That's why I said this game has a lot of lost potential with its story. And he looks like something that came out of a sewer. Or a toilet.
Is every person here a mental case? Well, I guess...
Look at the smug look from Heather. They did great work with the PS2 graphics, and then porting this over, even though it has its issues, but visually you can't really complain. They did some great texture work with the resources they had back then. I want to make sure the best is equipped. Damn, I forgot. We should not have gone in there. We should have just let him be. How much ammo do we have left? Oh, we still got Still got a ton of ammo left. I think the only time you can go in close is when he's about to die. That's when you can just stomp on him. Because if you try to do it there, he's just gonna get up and swipe at you. There's some debate about whether Heather is fighting him as a regular man or if he is fully transformed. I choose to believe he is transformed because one, he is in the other world. Two, if he was a regular man, he wouldn't be able to take all those bullets and hits she's hitting him with, so I choose to believe he has turned into a monster just because of the power of the cult. And he knows it. That's why he believes he's been chosen to guard the seal. Because he can feel like the power that's taking over him right now. Damn, that does nothing. That literally does nothing to him. We're gonna have to pull out the old shotgun, and we're gonna have to conserve some ammo over in the amusement park. The tough thing is, she's already slow with the vest, and now that she's in the water, she's doubly slow. But if you take off the vest and you get swiped by Leonard, that's gonna be a huge hit. I really wish we could just push him into that spinning thing and just shred him. But we can't. Damn, we wasted a bullet there. He's basically turned into some aquatic creature, hasn't he? Like, I just noticed he doesn't even have feet. It's like a fish. I think we got one more bullet left in the shotgun. Let's see if we can hit him with some more handgun bullets. That'll do something. Kind of. It is hitting him, but it's doing minimal baby damage. Let's get him from behind. Yeah, that's gonna take a lot of bullets to kill him that way, but lucky for us, we got 100 bullets, so we can spare them. I just don't want to use up all the shotgun ammo. I think he's dead. Yep, he's dead. You notice his tongue hanging out of the side of his mouth? Yeah, if he had just been a normal man, there's no way he could have taken all those bullets and hits. So I choose to believe the cult did change him. Like, the town's power did transfigure him into that thing. Especially since he was in the other world. You see there, he's gone, so you don't even find his corpse in the real world, so, or at least the misty world, so obviously he's still stuck back there.
Leonard's not here anymore.
Which means Heather just got away with murder.
Should head back to the motel now.
Nice and clean. There's nothing they can track back to her.
Huh? What's this?
Alright, we got a talisman. There's the disgusting glue wall. And it is time for us to get the hell out of here. And we no longer need the bulletproof vest. Especially since we gotta run all the way back to the motel. That'll just slow us down, so we can safely put that away. Yeah, like I said, one big failing of this game, which makes it less than perfect, is the fact that they didn't take advantage of the emotions in the story, you know. Like, that right there was a perfect example where Leonard could have recognized that she was a lesson and said some some things to really get under her skin, and she could have said some things about Claudia to get under his skin. But because they're so focused on the CO business and, you know, the technical details of stopping the god, they didn't stop to really examine the emotional details, which they pretty much did in pretty much every cutscene in Silent Hill 2. Every cutscene in the second game pretty much had some type of emotional undercurrent, you know, something where they just stopped and examined the emotions of the place. I mean, of what was taking on. The emotions of what was taking place in the scene. You know, they examined that pretty closely, pretty much every opportunity they got. And here it was like the opposite. They were so focused on the technical details of what Claudia is doing and how to stop her and whatnot that they kind of neglected the emotional side. Which again is a shame, considering you have pretty much here in Heather the most sympathetic of any Silent Hill protagonist, bar none. Because James, once you find out his deal, is very, very shady, to say the least. He's a very shady man. Very suspicious. And, you know, Henry's just a blank slate. Henry is just you, the player, the character, the protagonist. Like, he has no personality of his own whatsoever. Outside of maybe being a bit of a voyeur, you know, since he's a photographer and his whole deal is watching people. Maybe he's a bit of a voyeur, but he has no personality of his own whatsoever, and he was designed that way, which is one of those reasons why I kind of hate him and wish we had played as Cynthia instead, or even Eileen, because they have character, they have personality. Henry doesn't, and it bugs the hell out of me. And Harry's just your typical protective dad. Like, he's a great protective dad searching for Cheryl, but there's not much there besides that. There's a bit of darkness which we get introduced to here in Silent Hill 3 when we read his diary, but yeah, Heather / Celeste is pretty much both the deepest and the most sympathetic of any Silent Hill protagonist, and they basically do nothing with it in this game except a few very short instances in the church. So that always bugged me about the game. It's one of those things that I wish they had done much better. I think it would have been much more well received by the fan base if they had done that for the game.
He was one of God's beloved, no?
Those who mock God will never receive salvation. You'll go to hell, Vincent. You'll never feel the joy of God's everlasting paradise.
And you think God is going to save you? Ha!
What do you know anyway?
I know about the pleasures of this world. And I want to find my happiness while I'm still here.
Vincent needs a shave.
Father, didn't you? I saw the way he hit you, and kicked you, and made you cry. The memory of his cruelty is forever burned into my mind.
Vincent looks like the type of creepy guy you wouldn't want to go to his house for Halloween to get candy from. He'd put something in the candy that's very suspicious.
What you call faith is nothing more than a child crying out for love. That's why you're all alone.
His skin needs some treatment. I'm just noticing that right now. I've never seen him this up close on such a big screen. His skin is really bad. For a guy who's loaded with money, he doesn't really take care of himself that great. His teeth are horrible. So he's kind of more of a normal person than they are, but not by much. We're gonna get rid of the gun because we don't really need it right now. I don't think there's any more ammo we can get from over here. Let's see. They'll stop you eventually if you try to go too far, which is another thing that bugs me about the game, the fact that they didn't let you explore, when exploring is one of the fundamental things about Silent Hill that differentiates it from Resident Evil. See, they put up a barrier. They don't want you to go that way. Even though there's tons of stuff this way. There's houses, there's streets, and all that crap. I get why they did it. They probably wanted you to stay on course. And you know, with the limitations of the PS2, you don't want to get in a situation where you have to use 2 discs for the game. Even though I have no idea why publishers and developers were reluctant to do that, because I didn't mind switching disc on the PS1. You know, in Metal Gear Solid 1, Final Fantasy 7, 8, Siphon Filter I think had 2 discs. Yeah, it did have 2 discs. I didn't mind switching, so I don't know what the whole big deal is about just taking out a disc and putting in another one. I don't get why they were so opposed to that, when they could have just made better, longer games, you know, had they taken advantage of that. You know, like, you can't take 2 seconds to pop out a disc and put another one in. Come on, man. And I'm saying that to gamers, don't be lazy. Jesus, like, because this is what we get instead. You know, you kind of sacrifice some... Oh boy, stay away from that. You kind of sacrifice some of the stuff that you could have done, because then you're having to limit it all to just 1 DVD or 1 CD or whatever it is, you know, rather than letting the game breathe like it should, you know. That dog is gonna keep pursuing us all the way to the motel. Did we lose him? I think we did. Can't see him in the mist anymore. No, we did not lose him. Now, that might be a different dog. I'm not sure. I'm not sticking around to find out. Also, the hospital section really bugged me here, because it should be Alchemilla. As good as Brookhaven is, and I'm sure as scary as people found it in Silent Hill 2, it should be Alchemilla Hospital. That's the hospital where Alyssa stayed in. That's where it should be. I get why they did it as a mental hospital, to have let her be a mental patient there, but I just don't like it. They should have used Alchemilla. It makes no sense to use Brookhaven when Alchemilla was the focus of Alyssa's life, you know. And that was a place Harry explored. That was where Lisa was at. That was where Kaufman was at, you know. Even Dahlia spent significant time there. So it's just Alchemilla was the central place in the story for Silent Hill 1. Why are we going to Brookhaven in the 3rd game, which is a direct sequel to 1? You know, we should have been going to that hospital instead and seeing what it would look like in better PS2 graphics. But then they chose to do this just so they can save time and reuse the assets from Silent Hill 2, which is something that bugs me when games do it, you know, improperly. There is a time and place to do it to save assets, but the thing is, it really should have been Alchemilla in this place. It should not have, in this game, it should not have been this particular hospital. "106. That's the room.
Where's Douglas?
He went out. But he left a message for you.
Was there someone else here just now?
No, just me. Don't you want to know what the message is?
Yeah, what did he say?
The church is on the other side of the lake.
Church? Wonder what he meant by that.
You don't understand? That's where Claudia is. Across the lake. On the north side. If you're going, you better go through the amusement park. It's probably the only way in now. Go northwest on Nathan Avenue. It's a bit far, but closer than heaven.
Is that it for the message?
Uh-huh.
Thanks. Douglas really said that?
What's wrong? You don't trust me?
I don't really get what the point of that cutscene is, because he's just giving information that she could have figured out by herself. You know, they could have done it some other way. It just seems like an excuse to kind of pad out the game a bit more, especially since Douglas obviously didn't say that was information he was giving her. Little touches like that here and there do take away from the game. It's still pretty good. I'd still probably rank it as one of my top favorite 5 horror games of all time, but it didn't quite get as much love and care put into it as Silent Hill 2 did, which is a shame because, like I said, I do believe it has the much more sympathetic protagonist and much more sympathetic background that people can identify with. But because, you know, yes, a lot of people do have to take care of loved ones who are suffering from diseases or illness or old age, etc. But most people don't do what James did, obviously, you know. But everyone's been bullied. Everyone has dealt with a religious fanatic of a relative, especially nowadays in the US. Those nutcases are everywhere now, you know. Everyone's dealt with feeling like they let someone down, so I think in those respects, Heather is much more sympathetic than James ever was, because James is kind of a sleazeball when you get down to it. Not a complete one, just kind of, and that makes him fascinating. But at the same time, that also makes him rather hard to identify with. If it weren't for the soundtrack, the absolutely phenomenal soundtrack that backs him up, I think James's story in Silent Hill 2 wouldn't be as well received. I think it's the soundtrack that makes that game, you know, like the story's good and the enemies are cleverly designed. There's some decent areas, some weird moments. You get a lot of background on the town, but it's a soundtrack that makes that game legendary. If you take that away from it, I think the two stories pretty much stand side by side, because it's the soundtrack that gives it its power for the second game. This year too, I would have loved to have seen what the amusement park would look like in its regular version, beyond just 1 or 2 cutscenes. So you can tell they were kind of trying to rush through the story for this one. It's not quite as developed and drawn out as the story is in Silent Hill 2. And I'm watching someone play Silent Hill 2 right now, so I can just refer back to this one. I didn't say it before, but we're going for the bad ending, by the way, because I think it's the more interesting ending of the two. The good one is kind of lame. It could have been better had they stretched it out, but like many things in this game, they kind of rushed it, so it doesn't quite have a good effect. It's a giant rabbit costume. Isn't it a mascot from the local amusement park? I don't want to look inside. Something in there smells terrible. Yeah, we know it's probably a teenager rotting in there, because those are the people that they stick in those mascot uniforms. Teenagers. They're the only ones that fit in there most of the time. Teenagers or young women are the ones that they use for these mascots in Disney and other amusement parks. There's a dead body inside this box thing. There's nothing interesting here. She said something else, but it went by too fast. Something about who would do that. It's a popcorn wagon. Nothing very interesting about it. But this popcorn doesn't look right. I don't think I'll be having any. But then again, I wouldn't eat anything else here either. Yeah, and looks kind of green or multicolored. What do you think would happen if you ate that popcorn? Would you just die immediately, or would you turn into one of those monsters? Can't go in the bathroom. Cleaning in progress. Looks like they never got it done. Let's see if we can get a nice screenshot of that. There, I think that one might satisfy the thumbnail requirements. I can't take pictures obviously with the with the emulator I'm using, so but just pausing it for a bit lets me develop a nice thumbnail for the YouTube video, because I'm basically running this on a gaming laptop in combination with OBS. So I'm using the modified version of Silent Hill 3, so not really an emulator, but more like an enhanced version. They've done some minimal work to kind of fix it up a bit, but nothing near what it needs. It really needs attention from the team that did the enhanced version of Silent Hill 2, but they're still busy working on that, and they say they're going to be working on it for another year. I don't get what they're actually doing, because the game is pretty much perfect as it is now after 3 years of effort, but I guess they figure we got one more in us, you know, we got one more year in us and we can work on it. But they really do need to work on this one, because this one needs a lot of help. There's a lot of stuff they could fix up using their programming and modding genius, and it's kind of a waste that they're now so focused on fixing up the second one, which is pretty much done. Like I said, what more can they add? It already runs at 60 FPS. It's already 4K capable, I believe. I don't know how they managed that, but it looks great in 4K. Cookies and cakes on display. I don't need any of that right now. Yeah, the game looks great in HD, so they already managed that. They fixed up all the audio issues for the second game. Like I said, they fixed up all the audio. They included bonus stuff. I don't even know how they got that in there. They include some bonus stuff like trailers from the other games and the various E3s and other gaming conventions and stuff like that. So they've pretty much done everything you could do to make that game up to the standards of a modern game. So it feels to me like you're kind of just wasting a bit of time at this point. You know, like maybe you should actually sit down and start to work on the third game now. Especially now that Silent Hill is undergoing kind of a revival. A lot more people will be interested in it. The third game and the fourth game. Because the fourth game actually needs a lot of help. I hope it actually runs when I try to play it here. Because I don't want to go back to playing it on my PS2. So I hope it actually does run with the patches that they've made for it. I heard it's a mess, but I want to play it on this. There was a crash. I might have to take out a bit of a sound earlier there. Oh, Rosewater's chocolate. I didn't know it was named after the park. That's a detail I never noticed in the PS2 game. Got a roller coaster key. And a save point. Speaking of which, I heard Silent Hill Ascension is not doing pretty well. So now people are worried about the other games and saying, oh, the remake is gonna be terrible. The remake of 2 is gonna be terrible. Let's get the hell out of here. Before that guy catches up to us, let's get the hell out of here. God damn, we ran head first into it. What the hell is this? I feel like I'd catch something nasty if I touched it. I really better not mess with it, not that I especially want to. So let's turn this off because we remember our dream. There we go, now we can safely cross the roller coaster. Get away from these freaks. There we go, peace and quiet. Yes, I heard Ascension is not going great. Everyone's all worried about the remake now, and people are already writing it off saying it's going to be horrible. Look, we don't know if the remake's going to be horrible. The remake is a lot easier project to work on than this was, but the thing is, this could have been predicted because one, they loaded it with microtransactions, which apparently, I don't know why Konami wanted to do it, but that is a big no-no for any type of game. But secondly, and more importantly, anytime you give the player that level of power, it's going to turn into a mess. Because if you're giving them control, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, even though only a few hundred are probably playing at any given time, but a lot more are watching. But if you're giving them that amount of control, chances are they're going to misuse it. And you know, the whole gimmick of that Ascension is that the characters' lives are in your hands. You control their fates. Well, we know how nasty and mean-spirited the internet is, right? What do you think people are going to do with that? They're going to push for the most absolute worst outcomes possible for the characters. So they're going to screw you at every turn. Every decision, they're going to pick the decision that, you know, even if it's slightly negative, that's the one they'll go for. So that there is going to be no positive ending for any of those characters because they're all going to die when the internet basically votes to screw them over. So it's just, that was just a bad idea from the get-go. You know, a couple other things have been tried like that. Most famously, Jason Todd, when DC Comics asked readers to vote whether he should live or die, and everybody voted against him. Supposedly. I say supposedly because we don't know if DC actually rigged the poll, but I can believe that they do it because people are mean-spirited and nasty, so they will vote to kill a character off. And that's exactly what's happening with Ascension. Add to that the fact that apparently they have some issues with the with what they actually let you control, which means there was also a bit of false advertisement, so it was just a bit of a mess from the very beginning. It was just a bit of a bad publicity stunt that probably should not have been attempted, but I guess I can see the appeal of it. You know, people like to participate, people like to play games on Twitch and vote on the outcome, so I guess Konami figured, oh, might as well give it a shot, but it did not work out well. Which says to me that that team is probably going to be dismissed, because I think the reason they're doing 4 games, or 3 games and this, whatever the hell it is at once, is to test each individual developer. Remember, Konami is cheap as dirt and they have no developers left in-house, so they basically have to rely on other teams. But they're not going to go out there and pay millions of dollars for a top AAA team like gamers want them to do. Like, people are saying, give it to Capcom, give it to this team, give it to that team. They're not going to do that, fools. They're not going to go out there and pay some team $80 million to do Silent Hill 2 remake. That's not going to happen. They're going to pick younger teams that are just getting started or have some experience, like Bloober, or the team from Annapurna. I forgot the team that did Stories Untold, and the team that's doing Silent Hill F. They're going to take those teams, the younger teams, they're going to pit them against each other by having them develop individual projects, and they're going to see which one turns out the best. And whichever turns out the best, you can be guaranteed that one is going to get control of the full Silent Hill series. If it's still around, that's the team they'll go with. So this is a competition. You know, not just with other horror games like Resident Evil and Alone in the Dark. It's a competition against themselves. You know, Konami doesn't want to do anything themselves. They don't want to do any development work because they want to save money. The only reason they're making video games again is because they lost their money source from pachinko machines because they passed tougher laws in Japan. That's the only reason Metal Gear and Silent Hill and even Castlevania got revived. Like, don't fool yourself. That is the only exact reason why those series got revived, because they lost their pachinko money. But that also means you're not going to see that development effort that you would be seeing 15 years ago or 20 years ago. It's not going to happen. The best you can hope for is that some young team comes and impresses them so much that they hand them the keys to the different series. And so that's what I think is happening here. They're taking a close look at which team puts out the better game. Is it the Silent Hill 2 remake? Is it Silent Hill F? Or is it Silent Hill Townfall? Because whoever puts out the better game is guaranteed, most likely, I guarantee you, to be taking over the full series. You know, they said they're already working or planning remakes for the other games. One, you better believe that one of those games is probably the original Silent Hill. And two, I can guarantee you it is not a done conclusion that Bloober is doing the remake. Because if Bloober fails with Silent Hill 2 remake, which is about the easiest project you can get to remake, it's literally all laid out and written for you. Like, that is the easiest remake you could possibly get of any series in any gaming platform, period. A Silent Hill 2 remake, because it's literally done for you. All you have to do is just upgrade the graphics, upgrade the sound a little, and reuse the best tracks, and you pretty much got it done. So if Bloober team can't handle that, you can very well believe Konami is going to kick them out. It's not even a question. If they can't handle such a simple project, they're never going to give them a new game. They're going to kick them right out and say, well, sorry, here's the door. So this is a test by them. And honestly, Bloober doesn't have an amazing past with video games. You know, the medium had a lot of problems, but we have to see how they do. So turning off the roller coaster did nothing, basically, because it just restarted by itself. The town just sent it after us either way.
Find the girl, and you performed serviceably.
I wonder if that's Heather's own mind trying to kill her to prevent the god from being born, that it activates the roller coaster.
Like being used.
Lie? What lie?
That Heather was kidnapped from you.
But it's true. She was originally one of us. That man, Harry Mason, stole her away and kept her hidden from us.
Yeah, but she says she was happy.
Ah, she's still barefoot, on bare metal grating, full of rust.
Not yet awoken. She carries God within her. But when Alessa, Mother of God, truly awakens,
Yeah? What's gonna happen?
she will usher in the eternal paradise.
What kind of place is that?
A place with no pain, no hunger, no sickness, no old age. There will be no greed or war, and all will live by God's grace alone.
No this, no that, no nothing. A paradise? For castrated sheep, maybe. Sounds pretty boring.
I pity you. You still don't understand. You're going to kill me? Is it really so easy for you?
I've done it before.
Then I truly do pity you.
That's another reason why I think the story's a bit weaker here than it is in 2. Even though it could have been much better, because I just can't really empathize that much with Douglas. He's just not that interesting of a character. He's just your typical grizzled detective, although here, obviously a very naive and gullible one. Or maybe just desperate for money. But he's just like, there, you have her at gunpoint. You know this. You know she's not what she seems. She probably has powers and abilities you don't have. Just shoot her, man. What are you waiting for? Why are you giving this woman a chance to explain herself when she's obviously insane? And she's also powerful, so dude, just shoot her. And of course, later on when we find him, we realize he got his ass kicked. So yeah, Claudia does have powers. It's just not strong enough to bear the god herself. You know, she needs a lesser for that. So she does have some capability to defend herself, just not quite as strong a one as Heather does. There's a body lying there. I never noticed that before either. Looks like he's praying almost. So I can get behind the no war or no greed aspect of paradise. It's the one that says by God's grace alone. That's the part that's worrisome, because that means that you pretty much have to be a slave to that God. You have to do what she or it tells you to. So there's no free will. This is one of my favorite parts of the game because it's so cheesy and lame. The Borley Haunted Mansion. Yeah, that's the part that's worrisome. The fact that you'd basically have to be a slave to that god. Because, you know, obviously no war, no greed would be nice, but then the part where you pretty much says you have to live basically just to serve that god, that's the problem. This looks rather nice considering what it looks like out there. I am not a fan of haunted houses. I have not been in one personally myself. I watched plenty of videos for it, especially during Halloween time. If you have a weak heart or may be pregnant, please refrain from entering. Any children under the age of 8 must be accompanied by an adult. Just your typical warning on a ride, nothing to worry about, I guess. Well, Heather is pregnant, but this isn't going to help her. Let's save here because there is a bit of a nasty thing that can happen in the house in a few minutes. You if you don't make certain turns correctly, you can get killed pretty easily. Yeah, I've never been in a haunted house myself. I've seen plenty of videos for them, but I think what bugs me about them is the fact that, you know, like because obviously they can't, most haunted houses don't have the budget to do really good special effects or creatures. You end up relying a lot on the actors, so it's pretty much all jump scares by the actors. But I find that type of stuff kind of lame, you know. Like, if they had a really good animatronic or creature that will pop out and scare you, that might get me. I think the fact that we know right away these are all actors and they're pretending to be insane asylum patients or pirates or who knows what, you know, or Linda Blair in The Exorcist. It comes across a lot of times as more cheesy than scary to me. It's lame, not frightening. And I know there are some really good ones. One of the best in the country was actually right here in Philly. It was the they used to hold it out down at the Eastern State Penitentiary, but then it closed because of COVID. And also even before that, apparently I guess some parents went and gave complaints or whatever, so they changed it to a more family friendly Halloween celebration, which is lame as hell. Now they've got dancing in there, they got strobe lights, they got like a club atmosphere with a freaking DJ outside, and it's just, the magic is kind of gone. You know, it's a Halloween festival. It's not the cool type of Halloween festival you see in like Trick or Treat in that movie with the parade. It's like kind of like the overblown lame one. The haunted house was better. It was way better, and I regret not going there now because it was always too late at night, and I didn't have a car, so I'd have to rely on public transportation, which you do not want to do late at night in this city. Hell no. You're risking your life right there.
Borley Haunted Mansion. We're so glad you came. Please come inside and look around. When you feel you're ready, then go through the door.
People don't appreciate fine things, man. You never know what you have until it's gone. Kind of like with this series, right? Where the fans were like, yes, Konami didn't choose the best teams to continue it after Team Silent left, but then the fans were like unwilling to accept anybody who wasn't them. And they were like, give us Silent Hill 2 again. Give us Silent Hill 2 again. Give us Silent Hill 2 over and over. And so Konami tried to do that. And they failed, obviously, because then the fans just said they were rip-offs of Silent Hill 2. Then the series went dormant, and then everybody's like, why are there no more Silent Hill games? We need Silent Hill. You know, Resident Evil's turned lame. It went all action now. Fatal Frame's over. You know, Outlast sucks. We need Silent Hill. And it's like, well, you didn't appreciate it when it was there. You know? Maybe instead of asking for all those 5 or 8 Silent Hill 2 ripoffs, you should have been asking for new, interesting games. You know? Instead of just asking Konami to remake Silent Hill 2 over and over again. And then that's what that guy, Tom Hewlett, who they put in charge. I think it was Konami of America, right? Or their American division. They put him in charge, and that's what he gave you pretty much. He gave you 3 or 4 straight Silent Hill 2 ripoffs, and that's exactly what you wanted, right? That's what you want. That's what you said you wanted on the forums. That's what you told him you wanted, so he gave it to you, and you thought it sucked.
A family of 4 was sliced into bloody pieces in this room. Ah, the cries of the children. The murderer was caught. Do you know why he said he killed his family? Because I felt I had to! Anyway, I'm lying.
This is a cool little detail right here, watch.
A joke. I wanted to scare you, that's all. The truth is, only one person died. By suicide.
Yep, the guy hung himself. So that whole family murder thing was just made up? But if that's true, how do you explain all the blood in this room? Could it be that the guy who committed suicide really did kill a bunch of people? Oh, how could I be so stupid? This is a haunted mansion, of course it's all made up. What was I thinking anyway? But if it's fake, why does it smell like real blood? So we all know the town has a twisted sense of humor, right? And the people running it have a twisted sense of humor. My theory is that maybe it wasn't this particular house, this specific house, but my theory is these are all set pieces and furniture and blood stains and stuff moved from an actual place where the guy did kill a family. And so they just took all these props and stuck them here in the actual haunted mansion to fool people into believing, oh, it's just a prop, you know, it's just fake. Well, actually it's not fake. The guy really did kill a bunch of people. It's just that they moved his props and paintings and all that stuff from his house over here to this house, the theme park amusement house. But it really did happen in the timeline, because people do that in real life. They will buy murder sets, you know, they will buy furniture and props and all sorts of stuff from murder occurrences and stuff. They will display that in museums and private collections and even some haunted houses, you know, like the professionally owned haunted houses. So that stuff does happen. I mean, we all know the story of the fun house in, what was it, California or something like that, where there was a Dayglow painted mummy that turned out to be a real human mummy, and it was the famous or not so famous outlaw Elmer McCurdy, who'd gotten lost over the years after he used them for one attraction or another, and then they ended up painting over him and they stuck him in a fun house. Eventually he was just hanging there, and then when they went to film, I believe it was the $6 Million Man or one of those older 70s series, they went to film there, and crew member accidentally ripped the guy's arm off, and it turns out it was a real mummified arm. That's how they realized it was him. They finally were able to put him to rest. Some, like, what did they say it was, like, was it like 90 years, 80 or 90 years after he died, he finally was laid to rest? Good old Elmer McCurdy, who said they'll never take him alive, and they did not take him alive. They riddled him with bullets and took him dead. So yeah, people do actually buy furniture and props and stuff from places that have been actual murder sites and then display them in museums and stuff. That stuff does happen, so I can believe that that's a real dining room set from a murder that occurred somewhere else in the town when they just bought it and stuck it in the fun house. Especially if members of the cult are running this place.
Quiet young man, but quite.
I can definitely see them doing that.
He was so eager to meet you. His hometown is New Orleans, but he came here after first losing his way.
You took a bad turn, buddy. A very bad turn.
Where is the path to heaven?
Jeez, it's real. This is a real dead body hanging here. I don't think they meant for this to be part of the attractions. Who would have done this? That's just a doll sitting in a chair. Is Danny the doll, or is Danny that hanging thing? Oh well, whatever, no biggie. This hanging man is blocking the way. It's all rotten and disgusting, and I don't want to get any closer to it. Whoever it was, I feel sorry for them. Can't you just push it away, Heather, or just climb over that railing and, you know, go around them?
This mansion is quite old, so please watch your step. Sometimes the floor suddenly gives way, and beneath the floor, there's nothing.
So this is a little thing you want to watch out for. If you're playing on hard difficulty and you do not duck like this, you will die when the ceiling...
I'm so sorry.
It will kill you when the ceiling falls.
Falling apart.
It spikes you through the head and kills you.
Broken, you see. It wasn't supposed to stop there, I assure you.
Exit, see you next time.
There's the exit. I hope you enjoyed your tour. Please come back anytime. Or if you'd prefer, we could come and visit you instead.
Some people have speculated that's Vincent on the microphone, but I don't think so. I think it's just some random spirit or whoever that's taking up residence in the Otherworld version of the amusement park. I think it's just some random ghost or specter. I don't think it's actually him. So I don't think he'd take the time to do that. He's already very busy with trying to stop Claudia in his own lazy roundabout way. I think it would have been really cool if once you walked back here the ceiling dropped again and killed you. Looks like the funhouse has seen better days though. It looks all dilapidated. I know it's probably supposed to look like that, but some of it just looks plain unclean too, like they haven't really been taking care of it. I wonder if this is what the actual version of it in the amusement park looks like. Here's a part that can get really difficult on hard mode. Once you try to tackle it there, it can get really difficult. So you gotta start running.
But it seems that no one wants you to leave. Everyone really likes you. They want you to stay with them.
That's obviously not the pre-recorded message.
I have to agree with them. Don't be afraid.
So obviously the Otherworld has messed with the haunted house a little bit. Yeah, this is a bitch to outrun in the hard difficulty. It can kill you really quick. I think it goes double as fast as it does here. It is much faster. As to what that red mist, I guess you could say it might be related to the red effect that shows up in Silent Hill Downpour, but I personally think it's probably kind of like a wave of spirits in the town. Like I say, he keeps referring to it as them. They don't want you to leave, so I guess it's a wave of spirits and ghosts, pretty much trying to stop you from leaving. I mean, the town is called the Place of the Silent Spirits. That's what the name originally stood for. We gotta unlock this, but we have no resources to unlock it with, so get out of my way, big guy. Oh shit, we got... God damn. It's so noisy. The grating soundtrack noise that you hear. So here's the park mascots. We got Huey the horse. Who else we got? Kathy the kitty. So that's for a musical that they were doing. So we got Kathy the kitty and famous Robbie the rabbit. Funny how none of the others ever took off except for Robbie. I guess Konami didn't do any merchandise for them or anything, but it would have been cool to see just the other mascots besides just Robbie. You know, maybe they could do it in a remake. Show us more of the mascots there. All bloodied and stuff. They're kind of resembling the animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's a little bit. Because I recently watched that movie, so it's still clear in my mind. That movie kind of sucked, not gonna lie. It was perfect for fans of the series who want to see nothing but lore all over the place. Lore on the animatronics, lore on the kids, lore on the background of the killer, lore this, lore that. Oh, here's the other one, Dawn the Duck. So that's 4 of them. Just like there's 4 animatronics in Freddy's. Yeah, it was a perfect movie for those who want to see lore and nothing but. Problem is, it doesn't really do much else. Like, literally half or more than half of the movie is just the guy who's the protagonist worrying about the stuff at home with his little sister and what's going on there with his problems. And you know, the tagline says, "Can you survive 5 nights at Freddy's?" And nothing even really happens for like 4 nights. The guy is only ever in danger like once or twice. 4 people get killed, but you don't even see them get killed at all. They just get dragged off, and something is done to them. It's just is not a horror movie. It's just it's not a horror movie. It's just a movie that exists solely to spew out lore for the story, which is fine if you're a fan of it. It made a lot of money because I guess people were curious, but I wonder what's gonna happen later on when you when they do the sequel, because they're already planning the second one, and now people realize it's not really a scary or even a horror movie at all. Not even for kids. It's just meant strictly for the fans of the series and no one but. You know, that's a bad way to run a film, in my opinion, because that means your audience is not going to be as extensive as it could be, because there's nothing else for them to grab onto. You know, it's not scary, it's not frightening. All you get is a whole bunch of lore over 45 minutes. Like, there's one character in the film, the aunt who's really bad to her niece and to her brother, and she doesn't even get killed. She just falls asleep, and then the animatronic, one of them, comes to the little girl's house, and it's like, why didn't you kill that aunt? You know, she was so evil and annoying, and they did nothing to her, so it was just kind of a waste of a movie. The only thing it does is just serve the lore, which I guess is what they want. The fans wanted something lore heavy, but I don't know, they could have done better. Gateway horror doesn't have to be lame, you know. You can do good PG-13 horror if you're really creative. You know, Poltergeist is PG-13. The Ring is famously PG-13. There's a lot of PG-13 horror movies. You don't have to be lame and boring, but it's just that movie is slow and boring to me. It moves slow as molasses. Like, god damn, that movie moves so slow. Barely anything happened in it, so... The tagline is, "Can you survive 5 nights at Freddy?" I think the bigger challenge is actually, can you stay awake for 5 nights at Freddy without falling asleep for nothing happening? So good on the fans that they got the movie that they wanted, but I just think for other people outside of the fandom, it was just a waste. There's no reason to watch that movie because it's not exciting, it's not interesting. All you get is just a lore dump for like an hour and 15 minutes, and that's it. Then one user in our Discord, I won't say who, was raving about it. It's like, I guess because you know all the lore, that's exactly why you like it, right? But it's got nothing to offer anyone else. That puzzle, by the way, really baffled me the first time I played this game, because I didn't realize you had to take the chain all the way over here. I thought you could connect it here, or that it would the cutscene would automatically connect it for you. I had no idea you had to hook it up to the gate, put it over here, and then open up the door here and press the switch to activate the machine so it will pull open the door. I just thought it would be done during a cutscene or something, so I was just completely baffled. Why am I stuck here? Why can't I get this gate open? Here's Douglas.
Douglas,
Big fat help you are.
are you hurt?
Can't move my right leg.
She kicked his ass.
I'll call an ambulance.
What?
That was a brain slip by Heather. Heather, where do you think you are? You're in freaking hell. I don't think any ambulance is gonna be coming this far.
You old fool! Getting yourself hurt like that?
Sorry.
Why did you have to do that for me? What'll I do if you die?
Take his gun. That's what you do.
What do you do if this god thing gets born?
Come on. How powerful could a god from a dump like this be? I'm sure it'll be no big deal.
That's an interesting thing, because it seems to be a god of decay, based on what you're seeing around him.
Who knows? Maybe we'd all be better off if it did.
But if this is how a god of mercy acts, I don't want to see any more of him. That's a pretty good reason to risk my life.
Yeah, based on the lore, it seems to be like a god of decay and death, so the theme fits.
You think you're Superman or something?
You know, I always wanted to be him. Besides,
Yeah.
I want to help you out.
You don't have to feel responsible. I know it's not your fault.
Superman would actually be useless there. If you haven't noticed, Superman is famously vulnerable to magic, so like demons can just rip the hell out of him. Every time he goes up against something demonic, he gets his ass kicked.
Stupid kid got himself shot robbing a bank.
But why?
Maybe because his pop was a penniless good-for-nothing. Who knows? Anyway, now I guess I'll never find out. Sorry. I shouldn't have said you reminded me of a guy like you.
Well, maybe if you had compared me to your daughter.
There's that song, when I first turned on the soundtrack, I wondered what it was, because I didn't hear it over there talking, so...
You stay here and I'll be back.
That's that River Full of Lost song.
You'll be okay by yourself.
Hey, no problem.
Take his gun, Heather. You need him more than he does.
Besides, my dad's not around anymore, so only I can do this.
The voice actor is trying to make him sympathetic. You can hear it in his voice. It's just not much to work with.
Maybe killing you here is the only way to end this nightmare.
Yeah, you might be right.
Funny thing is that wouldn't work, because we know that every time she dies, Valtio just revives her. So, it actually wouldn't work. What would probably happen if he did try to shoot her, assuming he even has any bullets left in there, is that, one, Valtio would come and probably kill him, either rip him apart or break his neck, and then he'd just revive her. So she would wake up and just find Douglas completely slaughtered. Because as long as the god is inside of her, he's still gonna keep bringing her back. So, yeah, even shooting her wouldn't actually work. You know, God's servant would just come and kill him and then revive her all over again, and the cycle would start again. So that actually wouldn't work at all. You have to find another way.
What is it?
I just came by to make sure you were still alive.
Sorry. I'd come with you if I wasn't hurt.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the problem with older guys, huh? I'll handle things. You just rest.
Your dad was an older guy too, Heather. Are you saying he was slow and brittle too?
Don't die on me, okay?
So she is starting to see him as a father figure, which is really messed up considering he got her actual father killed because of his gullible nature. I've never been on a teacup ride ever. I've been on the one similar to it at the local carnival, but I've never been on an actual teacup ride ever. One of the things, I'm almost 40 and still haven't done it, so I should add that onto my bucket list before we're all dead. The rabbit's all smashed up. This car seems pretty heavy. What happened to the person inside? I think we know what happened to the person inside, Heather. They're no longer with us. They are completely crushed inside that outfit. I also like to imagine that those are actual people in there, and they're not just you know, props or stuff the town has put out to scare Heather. I like to think there are actual people who have gotten dragged into the town and just gotten killed in there. You know, because we know the other world affects reality. It has a tangible effect on the real world, so that is one of Douglas's notebooks, so we're not going to read it right now. We're going to save because I actually want to save and leave this for next part because we're actually close to the boss and I don't want to fight I don't know, should we go all the way and fight the boss or not? It will be 2 boss fights. I don't know. It will take like 15 minutes or so. I don't know, should we do 2 boss fights or not? We did Leonard. Problem is that I'm not keeping track of what I recorded, so I don't know how long it's been. Like, I'm sure it must be close to at least an hour and a half. I guess maybe we can just try to do it, just to get it out of the way. Client, Claudia Wolf. Request searching for then infant Alyssa Gillespie kidnapped by man named Harry Mason. No word from police. Kidnap location unknown. Old Silent Hill newspaper article. Alyssa Gillespie 7 dead in fire. Links to current case to be investigated. Priority low. Using alias Heather. Neighbors do not know real name. What is she hiding? So we got Douglas's notebook. Probably Douglas's notebook. Can't forget to give it back later. So he did do some research. He wasn't a complete naive idiot, but he still got taken in pretty badly. This symbol usually looks unnatural and weird, but here it sort of seems to fit. It still makes me feel creepy though, like someone peeking into my brain. You know what? Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Simply because if we get this boss out of the way, that'll just leave the church and then we can do one video. I don't want to have to split it in half, like do one part of the church and do the boss fight here and then also do another part with the final boss fight. You know, might as well do it now. If we get killed and we manage to get our ass kicked, then we'll just reset. I mean, we'll just leave it for next time. We'll give it one solid shot. There's photos on the ground. What's this? I always thought those photos actually looked a bit creepy. Are these photos of dolls? Cinderella's on the left and Snow White is on the right, but something's wrong. Cinderella doll. She needs her shoe. It's too small for me to wear, not that I'd want to. Funny thing is, Heather was supposed to originally wear high heels in her outfits, But then they gave it to a female designer who told her outright, no, that is not what a teenage girl would wear. This is what a teenage girl would wear nowadays, back in 2003. And then she designed the more familiar header that we know now. There we go. The path is open. This is the dragon that guards the treasure chest. It's just a prop and not scary at all. I'm sure to like a 3 or 2-year-old it would be pretty scary header. Okay, there are dogs out here, so we gotta be careful. Let's reload that. I think we should probably avoid them because we don't have much ammo. So I don't want to waste it on them. Oh yeah, here they come. Let's take a busy moment out of our running for our lives to read this memo. Dolly is the one who said it. Said that girl was a demon, that she took my daughter for a sacrifice, but it's not totally believable. I mean, appearances can be deceiving. When I saw that photo in the hospital basement, I thought that girl looks like Cheryl. Is that why I feel this way? Something's not normal anyway. Nothing good will come of this, but I just can't think of her as a demon. Is it my imagination, or do I actually feel sorry for her? Why do I feel like she's looking for someone to help? Cheryl's what's important to me. Everything else can wait until I've gotten her back. There's a date and a signature at the end. It's dated some 17 years earlier and signed by Harry. Dad? Yeah, that was the ice cream stand, which we got, I think we got some health drinks or some health kits there originally. Oh yeah, let's get the hell out of here. I want to make sure there's no ammo that I'm leaving behind. I believe that's called the Magic Ice Cream Shop in the original game. Are these plants fake or real? What do you think? I imagine at least some of them are fake, just for the amusement park. Oh, here's another body, just lying there in the shrubbery right there. Happy carousel enter. Don't they mean unhappy carousel? I like Heather's snark too. I like how snarky she is in some respects. Like, she's not ultra snarky like a Joss Whedon character, but I like that she has some sass compared to James, who's just a dumbass and will be saying stuff at the most inappropriate time. Like with Eddie. This horse is the only one not moving. It's because it was stabbed in the head. There's a memo. There's a memo there. When 13 turns count 4, you will die from their curse. If you wish to escape, there is but one way out. To kill before you're killed, you'll be saved by the 12th death. There's a memo pinned to the horse's side with a huge nail. So you gotta kill all the horsies, so they are alive. I don't think you can shoot them. I think you have to hit him with the sword or the maul. So I'm guessing those things are actually made of flesh. It just looks porcelain. You think there's the spirits of actual horses in there, or did the town just designed it this way to play a trick on her? Basically, you get 12 spins, and on the 12th spin, if you haven't killed a horse yet, you die. That's the way it works. There goes another horsey. This is a cool sequence though, the fact that you have to kill this thing in order to activate the boss. I'm sure certain people were traumatized by killing the carousel horses. This is where the emergency hammer from Silent Hill 1 would really come in handy. Just bash those horses in. Now this is a tough battle coming up. We're gonna need our bulletproof vest. Are they all dead? Yeah, I think they're all dead. Yep, here we go. Here we go. Now it turned creepy. Carousel from hell. Notice how it's spinning, going way underground, much farther than it would even be possible to go underground. So this is obviously some kind of transition to the other world. Look who's back. Isn't she familiar? It's Mirror Girl from the mirror way back in Brookhaven Hospital. Look at her. I like the fact she has black hair. Would have been better if she had long black hair, but still. Okay, so this one's not too bad. Let's get our protection on. I think you actually can hit her with the taser, but we need those for later. Come here. Damn. The horses are twitching too. So she'll use pretty much variations of all your weapons to attack you. So she starts off with the knife. I think she comes with the pipe next. I didn't notice in the PS2 version that it's actually closed off, the carousel. You can see the phlegm over it. Or whatever that is, a shade. That's kind of cool. It is like you're slowly descending into hell. So there's phase number 1. So this boss is called Memory of Alessa, and it's basically symbolic of Alessa's inability to die, basically. Now this is one you do not want to mess with. You want to use the shotgun for her, because that gun will kill you in like 2 hits or so. So you do not want to mess with that. You want to bring out the shotgun for this one. God damn, she can also pistol whip you too, but that does less damage than the bullet, obviously. God damn. Ooh. Gotta heal up. Damn, she blocked it. Ooh. That is not working. Might have to use a first aid kit. Oh, we stabbed her. You don't want to get too far ahead of her or she'll shoot you. It's just like with Sybil in the first game. You want to stick close. Alright, we got her now. I do like boss fights like that sometimes, where you're kind of fighting like a darker version of the character. Obviously Starkiller did that in the Force Unleashed games. Oh shit, she's got the pipe now. Oh, we got a sword. The sword is mightier than the pipe. You think Heather became a skilled swordswoman after this with that katana? She could probably teach some self-defense classes, right? After all this shit. I believe she's gonna come with the machine gun next. So let's get ready with our own gun. Alright, where is she? What angle is she coming from? Ooh. She can't hit us. She can't hit us while we're using that as cover. She blocked it. Let's see if we can finish her off with the sword, now that we're in close, so that we don't have to waste any more ammo. I think she's done. Yep, she finally died. So blocking is really useful in this game, and if you don't learn to do it frequently or use it as often as you should, it is one reason why the gameplay can become frustrating, because you don't block in Silent Hill 2 at all. You don't block in the first, but you absolutely have to block here. It's critical. And I think that's one reason why a lot of people might struggle with the game also, because they don't realize that just how critical blocking is. It's not really optional, like in Resident Evil 7, where you mainly block for the spider mode. The spider mode and the ones that slash at you, but you can just take them down with handguns and stuff. But it is critical to learn how to block here. Otherwise, you're gonna have a pretty rough time. It would be better for myself to die. After all, it's nothing to be afraid of. That child, that demon, when I think of the endless pain it will bring within his birth, I decided that instead of the suffering and cruelty I endured in that sick room, that I would like to bestow a more gentle and peaceful death for myself. Why do I resist? I never thought of myself as such a fool. Alessa, I guess it's kind of strange for me to call you that since you are me, but you know what? You, in quotation marks, and I don't think alike after all. And it's not that I don't remember that sick room either. Sounds pretty sophisticated for a 7-year-old. I guess it's actually the part of her that is still 17 or 38 or however old she's supposed to be. So it's part of Heather's own mind that's describing that. You know, the part of her that's still Alessa instead of Heather. Because that sounds very sophisticated for just a kid. Or even one at 14 years old, like she was back in Silent Hill 1. So like I said, I'm guessing that's part of Heather's own mind that's relaying that message. This is a pretty cool, well-designed area. And it's stuff like this why I miss Silent Hill. Yeah, we have some other horror series, but you don't really get stuff like this in them. You know, with Resident Evil, we already know what we get. We get lots of virus monsters, parasite monsters. We get nests and stuff like that, caverns, laboratories. You know, rotten labs and police precincts and stuff like that. We know what we get from them. Outlast is just a mess. I won't even touch that series. All we get, those are just some lunatic, insane asylums filled with freaks. Not really scary so much as frustrating, so I won't touch that series. This is nasty. Ugh. It's literally like the bottom of a sewer. God only knows what that stuff is. It sounds moist and icky. But Fatal Frame is basically all taking place in rural Japan. So there it's all it's dilapidated houses, but it's still beautifully constructed houses. The fear, if it has any, comes from the ghosts. So, you know, with other horror series, we know what we get, and Dead Space is obviously set on like space stations and planetary outposts and ships and stuff like that. But in terms of just weird, overall disturbing sights, no one really does it like Silent Hill, which is why I hope they have some good stuff cooked for us for the remake of the second game and Silent Hill F and Townfall, because we don't really get strange, bizarre stuff like that from other series. Like, they're more conventional with the horror, and we know pretty much what to expect with them. Whereas the beauty of Silent Hill was we never knew what to expect with them in the early entries. Then later on they became predictable, starting with like Origins. Even though I like Origins, mind you, but still they became predictable from then on because of the lack of creative developers in their new teams and the lack of creative directors. But I kind of miss having just stuff like that that's just plain off the wall and insane and disturbing, you know, without having to be tied down by that bullshit idea of not being able to fight back, because I hate that mechanic in games. I hate it. Stained by the evils of this world, we hold our sorrows within us. Only you can heal us these wounds. Each morning, afternoon, evening, and night, we call out your name and pray for the day of that miraculous descent. So we are now in the church, officially. Makes sense that they would build it close to the amusement park, because if you think about it, they're already luring the tourists there with drugs. They're already plying them with drugs and making a ton of money off them. It makes sense that you would try to recruit them too if you're nearby. But you can also do it stealthily and, you know, subtly. So, you know, it's not directly close to the amusement park, but it makes sense that it would be nearby because you have a fresh wave of recruits there that you can lure into your religion. I give to you unreservedly my body and my eternal soul. Whatever darkness may befall me, I will endure with you beside me. The passages sound nice. It's just a shame the faith got warped by so much corruption, right? As proof of your miraculous power, guide our obedient and willing souls to the road of paradise, O Lord. We will not give in to the power of temptation as long as we have you in our hearts. O Lord, save us with your compassion. O Lord, shower us with your blessings. O Lord, favor us with your abundance. I always wonder what's behind this door. I wish we could go there, but I guess it's the whole thing that nothing is scarier, so it's better to leave it remain a mystery. Damn, we still can't save. We gotta watch one more cutscene before we can save. Then we'll be done for the night. Looks like the movie's over. There's only 2 sites, I think, on the entire internet streaming that movie. One is on YouTube, has horrible audio and visual, and then another is on, I think, that site Horror Watch, which streams quote-unquote free movies, and it looks like it was uploaded by the same guy. It's a movie called Vile from 2011, so gee, what a surprise that no other site on the internet is rushing to stream that movie. Not Amazon, not Hulu, not Tubi, not anybody. It's a regular masterpiece, huh? It's just waiting to be appreciated by a new generation of fans for how crappy and nonsensical it is. There's something written on the door. This door is the gate which leads to the road to paradise. Embrace the bosom of the Holy Mother, admit your sins and be forgiven. Eternal tranquility can be yours. Alright, let's go in. Watch one more cutscene, and then we're gonna be done. And then tomorrow night, it's time for Oxide Room 104.
It was Vincent, wasn't it? He led you here.
Her eyes are pretty.
When will he cease his meddling? But it's just as well. Luring you here also serves my purposes.
Checkmate.
Not yet. The time is not yet.
I don't think Heather really wants to kill her, because she's had 2 times now where she could have just shot her in the head and ended it all, and she still hesitates. She's still reluctant to do so. Even though she wants revenge, I think she's just not a killer at heart. Neither is Alessa for that matter, or Cheryl, so... And so here she's gonna try to pretend to be Alessa to get her to see reason, but
What I want.
Not you. Alessa. Your true self.
it still doesn't work. She's too insane to reason with at this point.
I am Alessa. My little Claudia, my dear sweet sister.
Alessa? Is it you? Oh, how I've missed you.
I don't need another world. It's fine the way it is.
But you said it yourself. The world must first be cleansed with fire.
But that's not what I want now.
Alessa, don't you want happiness? Have you become blind to all the hopeless suffering in the world? We all need God's salvation.
Listen, suffering is a fact of life. Either you learn how to deal with that or you go under. You can stay in your own little dream world, but you can't keep hurting other people.
The world does suck, but I don't think there's any god out there capable of fixing it, even if they did exist.
I wish only for the salvation of mankind. But for that to happen, the world must first be remade. And for that, we need God.
You self-righteous witch! No one asked you to help!
Those are some big feet, god damn.
Growing within you. You despise me, don't you?
You're damned right I do!
That's good.
So Claudia is slightly more sympathetic than Dahlia, obviously, once we find out her background and the abuse she suffered from Leonard, as opposed to Dahlia, who's just been a megalomaniac and religious fanatic. But yeah, it's still like she's basically a childhood desire to fix everything easily with a quick solution, but it's not going to work, because one, like, I think the god basically reflects back what you give it. So Dahlia wanted this vengeful demon that would just fry and burn everyone, so that's what it became. And Claudia is obsessed with the image of Alessa, so that's ultimately the type of god that she's gonna get. Even though it's still just a vengeful animal, but that's the type of god she's gonna get. So it pretty much reflects back what you give it. I don't think it's entirely a creation of the town, you know, something that's completely born out of its followers' imaginations, because obviously where did some of this stuff come from in the first place before there were any people there, you know? There's too much raw power in the town for it to be just holy manifestations, you know? Like, there's nothing empty, like the pyramid heads. Who's giving them orders? Who's directing them? Because obviously James isn't. James just went there to find Mary. Yeah, he got caught up in the whole web, but obviously James's own subconscious is not directing the whole thing. Like, he's not a genius, you know? They were clearly obeying orders. They may have looked like that to lure him in, and because of the painting he saw in the historical society and all that crap, but obviously there's a greater power at work in the town. But the thing is, I think it reflects back at you what you gave it. You know, what you send back, that's what you get. So if Claudia were more genuinely benevolent and peaceful, she actually might have had a chance of getting back a reasonable god. But because it's not, the god chooses to assume a form that's basically demonic. Because Claudia is basically a danger at this point, you know. It's not really faith like Vincent said. It's more like she wants to be accepted and she wants to be seen as like a savior. And she does want to help people somewhere deep down inside, but she is taking all the wrong drastic measures to help people. Somehow I remember this stained glass. It shows God and the man and woman who birthed her. I used to come to this chapel all the time when I was a little girl. I came to worship God and to ask for my prayers to be answered, but it wasn't exactly me. It was actually a lesson when she was a little girl. But anyway, none of my prayers were ever answered. So that brings up a good question. How old is Vincent? Because he looks relatively young. But the thing is, she says she used to come to this chapel all the time when she was little. That she was here. But then Vincent says later on that he built this church with the power of money. So does that mean is this basically like the first section that's all there was back when Alessa was a kid, way back in like the 60s or early 70s, whenever that took place? Like, was it basically just this little section of the church right here, and that's all there was? Or, you know, because he obviously didn't build the whole church himself, so did he just expand on it and make it this huge underground sanctuary that covers the whole expanse of the area close to the amusement park? Like, is that what he did? Did he basically just enhance it and build out to make it this huge structure, pretty much like this huge cathedral or chapel? And I know Henry has a picture of it in 4. I don't know if it's the Balkan church or if it's this one, but he has a picture of a church. So, like, was Vincent's whole credit for taking, you know, him taking credit for the church, was it basically just a massive renovation and expansion that he did rather than build it from scratch? Because obviously he couldn't have built it at the time Alessa was here, or else he'd be like 60 years old. So I'd like to find out more about what exactly went on with the construction of this church. There's nothing I can do with the organ. I don't know how to play anyway. So we're going to save. We can take a look at the paintings next time. We're going to save. It's probably been like 2 hours. Oh yeah, it's definitely been 2 hours for sure, because we're over at Discord. We're already on Botchamania, so the movie's over. So it's definitely been more than 2 hours. But that means we got a nice meaty video to upload. You know, very lengthy. And it means we only got one more section of the game left, the church, which is good because, like I said, I want to go quickly to Silent Hill 4, and I gotta figure out first how to get that game working on PC, on my laptop. Secondly, what do I have to do to actually patch it to make it fixable? And third, I gotta decide, do I pick up from where I left off with my really old videos from the PS2, or do I just start over? Like, I kind of want to just start over from scratch now that I have the gaming laptop, but at the same time I don't want to just abandon those videos. So I don't know, I guess I could just drop it in the same folder. I guess maybe if I have one for Silent Hill 4 originally, just drop it in there, and this is a brand new start to the game, because I also want to show how to play the game step by step, because what I noticed when I was watching someone else play it is even though they were making a great effort, there's so much wrong with the game in terms of gameplay that if you don't play it a certain way, it becomes one of the most frustrating experiences you can have in a survival horror game, or really any game. So I want to show for people who watch it and want to experience the story for themselves just how to play that game correctly. Not because I'm a really great player, but because the game is so badly designed in some terms. It's so badly designed in some sense in terms of the gameplay that if you don't play it a really specific way, it'll become hell for you. And that's the fault of the developers, but it does mean that I think if you don't want to just sit there and watch the story on a YouTube video or somewhere else, like Twitch or whatever, watch someone streaming it. If you want to experience the story for yourself, you got to be aware that there is a way to play that game correctly, to save yourself a a huge amount of trouble to minimize the frustration that you'll get playing that game, because the story is actually pretty cool. It's one of those games where the story is vastly better and more engrossing than the actual gameplay itself. You know, there's quite a few games like that, but usually they're not done to that extent. Like Soul Reaver 2 is a game that basically lives and dies by its story, but it's still playable. You can still have fun playing the game. It's not overly frustrating. You can still have fun solving the puzzles, fighting the enemies, etc. It's not deep gameplay, but it's still somewhat satisfying gameplay. Whereas the problem with Silent Hill 4 is that not only is it not deep gameplay, it's also not very satisfying to play either. The game is a mess, the enemies are a mess, the enemies are frustrating, the enemies are overpowered and quite numerous and will fuck you up easily. You know, resources are scarce sometimes, so you really do need a guide to play it well in order to get the most out of the game. If you're not just going to sit there and watch it on a YouTube video or Twitch stream, if you want to experience the story for yourself, you have to play it a certain way. And that's the fault of the designers, but unfortunately that's what the game is. So I do want to take some time, and with that gameplay, with that walkthrough in particular, I want to show people how to play the game so that they can experience it for themselves and not be so frustrated or out of their minds with just rage at the game that they just quit halfway and never see the story. Because there are some interesting things to find and point out in that game. It's just, it was not well designed at all by what was left of Team Silent. You know, they did not do a good job with that game in terms of the gameplay and the balance between the enemies and the difficulty. So it's really a challenge. It is a challenge, but that also means that I might want to start over from scratch, because my first playthrough, which I attempted to do, and I think I got like 3 or 4 videos into it before I kind of quit, I was just doing a regular walkthrough, regular playthrough, that's it, just pointing out lore from the games, you know, just not really strategizing anything, just doing a regular playthrough. But now I realize, watching other people play it and watching how insanely frustrating the game can be, I realize now that's not going to work. Like, if I'm going to do something I might as well make it a guide for people to see how you can actually get past some of the tougher spots in the game and actually enjoy the story, which is pretty rewarding. So I want to get to that soon, because I do like Silent Hill 4, but I like it for its story and atmosphere, not the gameplay. The gameplay itself is infuriating sometimes and can literally be hell if you're not prepared. So I do want to prepare people to play it if they want to go back and explore some of these old Silent Hill games now that the series is popular again. I want to make sure people have a guide that will actually serve them well as point out lore and character moments and stuff like that. That's the more fun aspect of the playthrough, but I also want it to be useful, because something like this isn't really that frustrating. Like, you have so many weapons here and so much ammo that it's not overly frustrating. You just gotta watch your health. And then 2 is a pushover. Silent Hill 2 is very, very easy to beat, so it is a pushover. But compared to this, or even Silent Hill 2, especially compared to Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 4 is hell on earth. Like, it is, its difficulty is ramped up to 11, so you do not want to take that game lightly. So hopefully I'll produce something that's both entertaining and also extremely useful for anyone who has not experienced the game at this point, which, judging by the comments I see on the internet, is actually quite a few people have not played that game fully and seen the full story or beaten it at all. So I look forward to doing that, and hopefully Oxide Room 104 does not disappoint me tomorrow night. Hopefully it actually turns out to be good, because like I said, I've heard very good things about that game, I've heard very bad things about that game, so it's a mixed bag overall. It's a very mixed bag, and I have no idea what to expect. All I know is the central premise is a man is trapped in a motel and has to escape while being surrounded by monsters and apparently this mad scientist. That's all I know. He's trapped in there and he has to escape the insanity. I have no idea who he is really, what the rest of the story is, or what's going to happen, or even the type of monsters that we'll be facing, besides like one. I've seen one monster that you can fight, that's it. So I'm going into that purely blind. No walkthrough, no previous videos, nothing about the puzzles, no knowledge of how to solve them. I'm going into that completely blind, so hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me. But we will pick this up pretty soon after we do another video for RoboCop and Spider-Man, and that'll be the end of Silent Hill 3, and hopefully we can get started on Silent Hill 4, which, like I said, is one of my favorite stories in the series, but not one of my favorite games. It's one of my favorite stories. And after that, then we can move on to Silent Hill Origins, which I actually do like, both the gameplay and the story. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time on Silent Hill 3 on the PC. See you later.